What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 8 of our Motorsport Manager Let's Play here, well, in Motorsport Manager, and today we are back, of course, with Renault Motorsport. Hopefully you guys are good today, and yeah, let's just get into this, shall we? Of course, German Grand Prix is going to be coming up from Munich. There's not a whole lot going on, really. We've got a new rear wing being designed, but, well, we're going to really get straight into the German Grand Prix. Of course, we still have 2 offers on the table. We're trying to get Carlos Sainz. Hashimoto might be joining us. We'll find out, I guess, after this weekend's racing. In terms of the aims, I think we're going to go with the higher bonuses if we can. In terms of tyre selection, we can see, look at the weather forecast, it looks like it's going to be largely clear. So I'm going to make sure that we do take an abundance of the softer tyres. And, I don't know, I think we'll go with a 932 setup, or 932, is that going to be enough of the medium? I think for Palmer, we'll take an extra set of hards. For Hulkenberg, we'll take an extra set of softs. Of course, Hulkenberg, he is a little bit kinder on his tyres, it would be fair to say. In terms of parts fitting, do we want to install any risky parts? I don't think so, if I'm being honest. Of course, we have got 2 new gearboxes. They're both being worked on. Still don't think their condition's quite good enough just yet, but I think they will be ready for next race, so we should get some pretty substantial improvements there, which is something to look forward to. And, well, let's just get into this race weekend. It isn't going to be quite as crazy as last episode, which if you missed the Canadian Grand Prix, I recommend you go and check it out. There were teams doing 2 pit stops after 2 laps. It was... There was scenes. That's the best way to describe it. It was absolute madness, kind of the whole race, what happened. And I can't encourage you guys who may have missed it for whatever reason to go back and check it out, because it was a classic. But anyway, Munich is where we're going to be at. The circuit itself, pretty high speed. Hopefully, of course, we can give the performance that we want here and kind of get a little bit of a better performance to last time. Of course, we did scrape some points last race. Ideally, I'd like to be aiming for a few more today. If we could get both drivers into that top 10 spot, that would be fantastic. Of course, to start this race weekend, we have got the practice session. I'm going to be setting up Palmer and Hulkenberg's cars. We're going to try and just kind of find a happy balance if we can with all their setups, and hopefully, you know, we can do as well as we did last weekend, because last weekend we did really, really well when it came to the race. We were in a really, really good position, and really we're kind of just hoping to carry some of that forward on here. So I'm going to go with slightly different setups on both cars. Hopefully we can find a happy medium between them all. Of course, I will see you guys towards the end of the practice session. We'll see how things are getting on, and hopefully we'll have 2 very good setups going into qualifying. Okay guys, so here we are. We are just getting towards the end of the practice session here, and the setups on the cars really aren't that great here. You know, the German Grand Prix is a very, very long lap. As a result, we weren't perhaps able to get in some of the laps you can get in on shorter circuits. And, yeah, well, you can see here in terms of the knowledge that we've built, we've got full race knowledge, we've got full qualifying knowledge, which is good. Hard tyres is full knowledge as well. Might come in useful in the race if we decide to go for a longer first stint, or, you know, draw things out on the harder compound at some point. And we have got full knowledge on the soft tyres, which of course is going to help out in qualifying. You can see actually looking at the cars there, it looks like Palmer's actually got a really good setup, but Hulkenberg's, I think we may even be tweaking kind of going into qualifying, but which, well, let's be honest, that isn't the ideal situation to be in here. But we'll see how we get on. Main aim really is just to get out that first qualifying session and try and get one car maybe into the second one. Soft tyres and of course the qualifying trim, kind of the go-to options here. If we look at Palmer's car setup, you can see great, excellent. I'm not going to go tweaking that just for fear of ruining it more, but it's the best it's been. You can see we steadily improved Palmer's kind of setup throughout the race. For Hulkenberg, on the other hand, 93% isn't bad, but I feel like we can still improve. I don't know, I feel like we can improve a little bit still. So we're going to try and put in a few minor tweaks maybe and just see what we can get out of it. But, yeah, it's a bit of a risk, I guess, to be changing the setup here, but I don't know. It's the price that we're going to pay to try and make something happen, I guess. And, yeah, we'll see how we get on in this race, really. I think that's kind of the big thing here is we want to have a good race, and I feel like refining the setup further is probably key to that. But, yeah, soft tyres with both drivers. Hulkenberg, untested setup. We'll see how they get on in qualifying. It's going to be a tricky race for us once more. Of course, this may finally be Jolyon Palmer's last race for the team, with various offers out on the table. I feel like he will be being replaced in some way, shape or form towards the end of this episode. But, well, maybe we can let the British driver go out on a high. Of course, in real life this year, I think it'd be a fair assessment to say he's really not set the world alight at Renault, and so perhaps I don't feel quite so bad for letting him go here in Motorsport Manager. But, well, qualifying underway, of course, we're getting our cars out nice and early. just trying to avoid some of that traffic if we can. Get a nice score on the board in terms of the tyre warming up there. Not the best performance by our drivers, but we'll see how they can get on going into their flying laps. They are caught in a little bit of traffic, which is perhaps a little bit of a concern. You can see Hulkenberg here kind of having to make his way through, but he is kind of stuck behind. I'm not even sure whose car that is there. But regardless, I mean, he's setting some okay times, I guess. Of course, you're expecting to set the fastest set times in every sector when he is the first car to go through. But, well, he's going to finish off the lap with a 1:31. And you can see Palmer actually, well, not that far behind Hulkenberg, really, which is okay. You can see Van Dorn in the McLaren doing significantly better. Grosjean struggling in the Haas. But, and Magnussen as well, actually looking at it here. But in general, not the best performances. We could be in danger in this session. You can see Kvyat, Ericsson, a few of the slower teams kind of not putting in the greatest times here. And you can see at the end of those laps, we are currently scraping through. I feel like it's perhaps worth sending out both drivers once more. You can see Hulkenberg's kind of feedback on his setup. It's at 90%, which is actually a decrease on what we had before, which isn't great. So I think we'll go back to that 93% setup that we had. We have got a fair few soft tyres that we can go through here. Of course, we haven't been tweaking Palmer's setup too much. And I just realised I accidentally sent Palmer out on the same tyres he did his previous qualifying lap on. That wasn't intentional. So Jolyon, it's the time to bring him into the pit and send him out again. There actually is. So a little bit of a misclick there. I mean, if this happened in real life, I feel like there'd be a little bit of confusion as to why a driver's going out on a lap only to be recalled in less than a lap later. But we won't tell the press here about the embarrassing error that we've just made. It shouldn't be too costly. Palmer will have enough time to go out and set another time on the fresher kind of new set of soft tyres. Of course, Hulkenberg coming through here, and well, he's not going to have any traffic ahead of him. So that is really good news for us, as Hulkenberg is now on his flying lap. Hopefully he can kind of make things work here. Is that a Red Bull trying to overtake him on their outlap? I mean, that feels a little bit cheeky, but Hulkenberg, he's going to be trying to make things happen here. Can he improve on his time? It's not the best time, if we're being completely honest. I'm hoping for an improvement. You can see he's been better in sectors 1 and 2. Going into the final bend here, down the straight. Can he improve? He can indeed. All the way up to 9th. That is a fantastic little lap he's put in there. Palmer, on the other hand, going on to his flying lap. The number... what number is he? It doesn't even say. He's 16th at the moment. Can he improve on that? You can see he has now dropped in to the elimination threshold, so he needs a big lap here. There's a few cars behind us as well trying to set times. They're actually not going to get a time set, so it's all on Palmer. Can he better Verline's time in the Sauber? That is the question. He goes across the finish line. He is going to improve upon it. Alonso struggling in the McLaren as well. And, well, both drivers doing what was asked of them. We're getting through to Q2. That is a good situation to be in. Little bit of a nervy mistake, I guess you'd argue, the misclick to send Palmer out early, but it wasn't too costly. Bottas setting the best time in that first qualifying session, although you can see the top 4 separated by 300ths of a second, and the top 6 separated by 300ths of a second. The top 4, I think it was less than 200ths of a second, so really impressive there. Sauber, you can see not having the greatest session with Verline struggling. Toro Rosso also having both their drivers go out. Of course, we will take this second qualifying session. It's sunny once more. It's not quite the drama that we had previously in Canada, but hopefully both drivers can kind of put in good shifts here. Of course, sending them out on the fresh soft tyres. We want to get them set in a nice time early. They've got plenty of tyres to get through this weekend. Hopefully we can have another solid set of times, of course. Hulkenberg's performance in that first qualifying session would have been good enough to get him through to the final qualifying session. And that is really what we're striving for here, is to get one of our cars into that final session. And, well, let's see what we can do here. Both drivers, you know, plenty of clean air ahead of them. Going to be fewer cars on track. Hopefully they can make it count. Hopefully they can put in a good little performance. Of course, if they do struggle for whatever reason, we are in a fortuitous situation where we should have time to send them out once more on another fresh set of tyres to try and better their times. But, well, we'll see how we get on here. Hulkenberg slightly faster than Palmer in Sector 1, although Hamilton better and faster than both of them. Not entirely surprising there. Again, Palmer actually faster in this second sector, so pretty tight between our two drivers. How are they going to end things up? Can they get in that 130 range? You can see 131 for Hulkenberg, 132 of 131.2 rather for Palmer. You can see that is better than Van Dorn and Grosjean, so that's a good sign, I guess, although Lance Stroll going very, very strong. The Williams car doing well. Esteban Ocon slotting himself between our two cars. And well, with the likes of the Red Bulls and the Ferraris left over, we need a big performance here, and it's going to be, I think, a second lap out required for both of our drivers, as you can see right now. They are in 11th and 13th, respectively, and yeah, we need improvements. But we've got the tyres and we've got the time to try and make something happen. We've got an opportunity here to try and change our fortunes. We want to get into that final qualifying session if we can. Hopefully the drivers can put in good little stints here. And, well, Hulkenberg and Palmer, make my day. Can we try and get ourselves into the final qualifying session? It's always an anti-climax when I have to sit and simulate through it in these live comms. Let's not have it today. Let's see what they can do. A few other cars going out, mostly cars behind us you can see here. Although there is still time, I guess, for a few other cars to perhaps make a reactionary move to the throttle to try and make something happen here. And, well, you can see here, let's see what we can do on the outlap. Palmer is going to be stuck behind, I think that is Van Dorn, actually, in the McLaren. On the other hand, Hulkenberg, loads of clean air ahead of him to try and make something happen here. You can see lots of the cars out. The leaders of the pack kind of fairly content, I guess, just to sit it out now and watch the rest of our cars' kind of set times. Hopefully we can improve on things here. Hulkenberg goes through. He goes up to 9th. Palmer not going to better his time, unfortunately, but Ocon, Van Dorn and Grosjean all with opportunities to knock Hulkenberg down. How are they going to get on? It's disappointing. Ocon, the next car to set a time. He's not going to do it. Van Dorn, he's not going to do it. Hulkenberg makes it through to the final qualifying session. A really, really impressive performance by him. And, well, we can't fault our efforts here. We've done what was asked of us. We've got to this final qualifying session. I wasn't sure if it was going to be possible today. But, well, Hulkenberg's pulled out a fantastic lap. And in the end, he actually went almost half a second quicker than Jolyon Palmer, which is a massive, massive margin in F1 terms. You can see Vettel and Hamilton dicing it out at the top. Bottas, he was fastest in that first qualifying session. Down in third now, Ricciardo. Again, a little bit slower than his teammate, in a similar essence, I guess, to Palmer in a lot of ways. A disappointing time for him. You can see, obviously, Jolyon Palmer going out. Both McLarens going out. The Force India of Esteban Ocon goes out. Perez did make it through in the Force India as well. So we've done well, I guess, to get one car through. It's always going to be a tricky battle. I feel like kind of the hierarchy of Formula 1, at least here in Motorsport Manager, really is. You have the Mercedes, you have your Ferraris, you have your Red Bulls, you have your Williams. And then I feel like we're in that pack with the likes of McLaren and Force India, where we are kind of trying to get a driver through to the final qualifying session where possible. But anyway, let's see what we can do here. We're going to go out with the same setup we had before. Fresh, soft tyres on the agenda. Let's just get a nice time set early here. I probably haven't got a second set of tyres to send Hulkenberg out on if I'm not happy with his first lap. We've gone through a fair few of them just in the various qualifying sessions. So hopefully he can do it at the first time of asking. Of course, the previous two sessions, it's kind of taken that second lap really for Hulkenberg to find his rhythm, to kind of find... I guess his place on the track and work out where he needs to be putting the car to get the most speed out of it. But we'll see what you can do here. Of course, finished 9th in the session previously. I'm looking for a similar performance today if possible. You can see Lance Stroll and Massa actually going out on used tyres. That is a curious decision. I don't know if that is due to a shortage of soft tyres. But, well, Hulkenberg going out here, it's setting an okay time, although he is 0.07 of a second slower than Hamilton in Sector 1. That is a big loss, and Hamilton, again, really setting the world alight with his time. Hulkenberg's going to go through. It's going to be a 1:31.077. That is slightly better than his times that he set on his first laps of the previous few qualifying sessions. We'll see where that slots us in. You can see Perez is slower. Massa is slower as well, although Massa, of course, using those used tyres. I'd be surprised if he doesn't go out on a set of fresher tyres unless they just simply haven't got them. And, well, we're not going to be on the back row of the front 10 on the grid. It's going to be a 4th place or higher, and in fact you can see here Massa going slower, Lance Stroll out on an outlap, but his tyres have already fallen off a cliff. It's going to be interesting now to see if anyone goes out to try and better their time. I'm fairly happy with 7th. You know, it'd be nice to hit the sponsor objective if we can. If we're going to need 3 soft tyres for the race, I might have room actually to go and do another lap. Do I want to do it? I think I do want to do it. I want to live life on the edge here, folks. We're going to go out once more. We're going to see what Hulkenberg can do here. We did have the auto temperature stuff on. I was a little bit worried that perhaps we didn't do that. But let's see what we can do. We're trying now just to set that one kind of slightly better time. You can see Stroll on another outlap with absolutely no condition in his tyres. He's not going to improve on that time. You can see for Perez as well. He is kind of struggling with his tyres, which he's gone out on. We have plenty of fresh sets, so we can send them out. Good temperature management by Hulkenberg. Can he make a lap happen. You can see lots of cars and outlaps. Everyone actually going to kind of quite reactionarily, I guess, send their cars out once more. You can see a big pile of cars. There's going to be a lot of traffic for one another as Hulkenberg, he's making his way through here. Maybe that traffic can play into our hands just a little bit. Can Hulkenberg better his 7th place? That is the question for us right now. Less than a second off the front of the pack. And where's he going to be after the lap? He's not going to improve on it, unfortunately. That was actually a slower lap than the previous one. And it all came down to that 3rd sector where he did let himself down a little bit. You can see Hamilton setting fastest laps of the session. Where is he going to be ending up? He is probably going to hold on to 1st here. You can see we are guaranteed 7th now, which is a great position to be in. Slightly off our sponsor objective, but to best the Williams, to best the Force Indias today, and really to be, you know, 7th behind, well, both, obviously, Red Bulls, both McLarens, both, sorry, not both McLarens, both Mercedes and both Ferraris. It's a good position to be in, and hopefully we can make that count. I feel like I've been saying McLaren instead of Mercedes today whilst talking about Hamilton's car. If I have done that, and you've left a snide comment, go down there and delete it now. I noticed the error of my ways. But anyway, okay qualifying session, you know, to get 7th, perhaps a little bit ahead of expectations, really. Hopefully in today's kind of race we can make something good happen. It looks like it's going to be a dry race, which is a good situation to be in. It's going to be a 20-lap race, I assume, here, by the fact that we are wanting to do 20 laps. In terms of what we're going to do, I'm kind of tempted with Palmer to go for some kind of really long strategy on the hard tyre and see if we can just make it work, kind of make the overcut work and maybe try and limit our stops. How long are the tyres going to last? I guess that's a crucial question to ask here, isn't it? It's just how long are these tyres going to last, these softer tyres? So it is a 20-lap race. The hard tyres set to last 12 to 10 laps. So I'm thinking for Palmer we start on the hard compound and we either go with a second set of hards because we're not tied into the rule that they have in real life that you have to use 2 compounds. Obviously for Hulkenberg we don't have the choice. We have to start on the used soft tyres that we already used. They've got 4 to 6 laps in them, so that's okay. I think this is the setup we'll go with. I'm wondering if they were to last 4 to 6 laps, if Hulkenberg could do a 1-stop. I don't think it's going to be possible. So I think this is what we'll go with in terms of driver strategy. The drivers can attack early on. You know, tyre wear could be a little bit of a problem, but for Palmer, I think we'll be okay. For Hulkenberg, his strategy kind of just plays into how the tyres wear down. We'll see how we get on early on here in this race. You know, the first few laps are kind of going to shape our strategy. And while Palmer getting an okay start, Hulkenberg doing really well actually. He's up to 5th, maybe even 4th now. Fantastic driving by him to get that outer line. Of course, he has got that first lap hero trait that we gave him. And well, he's trying to make that count here as he's now up to 3rd as well. Fantastic performance by him to kind of get the car where he has. Of course, it's not a car with speed. Palmer's up to 8th as well. This has been a really, really good start to the race as far as we're concerned. Hulkenberg actually set the fastest Sector 1. Nice little achievement by him here. Tyres getting up to temperature as well, so we'll tone them down just a little bit as we kind of ease into this race and get comfortable. But Hulkenberg, a great start for him. His tyres already down at 55%, probably only got 2 or 3 laps left in them. For Palmer, on the other hand, it's kind of the beginning now of a long slog on these hard tyres. We want to try and make them last as long as possible. You can see the hard tyre kind of strategy is a strategy that a few other teams have followed suit with, so it's not an abnormal one for the kind of drivers outside the top 10 to be vying with. And well, for Hulkenberg, let's hope that he can just give a good little performance here, really. In 4th place at the moment, kind of getting fairly comfortable there. You can see he is losing time to the likes of Bottas and Hamilton and, of course, Vettel. But at the moment, at least, he is ahead of Raikkonen. Palmer, on the other hand, just slipping down the order ever so slightly. Although, someone has crashed out there. That is Felipe Massa going out on the first corner, I think it was. Or was it the first corner? No, it wasn't. I've lied. It was... Would it have been the first corner? It may well have been. It was a very early crash, certainly, in this race. No safety car, which might have played into our hands just a little bit, but well, we'll try and make do with what we've got here. You can see Palmer, of course, on those harder compound tyres. He is kind of fighting the likes of Magnussen and Ocon, who are also on the same compound, so you'd be expecting him to do okay here. For Hulkenberg, I think we are going to need to pit, and you can see Verline now. I think he has crashed in the exact same area. It was certainly the first sector. 17 laps left of the race. We could go with the medium compound and then go on the softs and really burn through them. That might be the strategy we go with here. In fact, it is going to be the strategy I go with. So we're going to go onto the... In fact, Is it better to go on the medium tyres or is it better to go on the soft tyres and then just have the mediums at the end of the race? I think it's going to be better to have the mediums at the end of the race. That's what we'll go with. My thinking here is the soft tyres aren't going to quite last as long. Whereas, you know, depending on how long the soft tyres last, we'll know how much we can push the medium tyres there kind of towards the end of the race, because we could be quite aggressive with our driving strategy with them. Whereas if I go with the soft tyres kind of first, sorry, at the end of the race, there's a risk that obviously we overextend them, whereas that risk is mitigated by going on to those medium tyres. Does that make sense? If we do the medium tyres at the end, I can push them harder without it being as risky and then falling off a cliff. That's what I'm trying to say. We got there eventually. Anyway, Palmer's crashed. Palmer has crashed. Brilliant. I mean, I wanted him to end his last race well. It's not going to happen. Everyone else is pitting under a safety car. I assume they're going to pit at least. We, of course, have just pitted, so we have just got really, really unfortunate. I'm expecting to see so many people double stacking here. This is going to cost us big time. Everyone here basically getting a free pit stop, whereas we pitted just one lap before. You can see a few of the cars on the harder strategy not falling victim to that. But, well, Jolyon Palmer has ruined our own race strategy, basically. Because all those cars who are on the same strategy as us pitted one lap later, we couldn't quite eke it out. And well, as a result, we are up a creek without a paddle, and it's not a situation that I thought we were going to be in going into this race. It's not a situation I wanted to be in going into this race. The fact that Palmer has crashed out is disappointing. Surprising that so many other cars have kind of crashed out. Unfortunately, we've got one more lap after this under the safety car, so I'm going to waffle on now. I think this might be one of the first safety cars we've had in the series. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I will say at this point, if you are enjoying the episode, do leave a like on the video. Let me know you're enjoying it. If you've got a comment, you know, is that bad luck by me? Like, hashtag Palmer out. If you're watching the video at this point, hashtag Palmer out. Get it in the chat. Of course, he's probably leaving at the end of this episode anyway. But, you know, share your distaste at Jolyon Palmer. He has screwed us up royally here. I'm going to put our driving style into overtake just to try and get some heat into the tyres. Safety car is going to be coming in at the end of this lap. But, well, that is not the strategy I wanted. Thank you, Jolyon Palmer, for absolutely nothing. You have screwed us over big time. Fortunately, at least, looks like we are timing our tyre heating up just right. And, well, now our race all becomes about one driver. Now the focus is on this man, Hulkenberg. Can he make something happen? Can he, you know, make some moves perhaps early on? Really trying to push this softer compound tyre. He's up to 14th, although actually, no, he loses that place. He's going to take it once more against Carlos Sainz, who, of course, might be joining us in the not-so-distant future. Not in quite such a powerful car. And, well, Hulkenberg, he is making some moves here, up to 12th. Going to just change the driving style down just a little bit. The tyre temperature getting a little bit too high for my liking. But, well, you can see a lot of the other cars here on the medium tyres, those cars who pitted around us. So we are going on a slightly different strategy to other drivers. Ricardo, actually the only driver kind of opting, as we have really, to go onto the soft tyres for a second stint in a row. Might play into our hands a little bit. We'll have to see how it kind of plays out. You can see the entire pack is really tightly bunched up, whereas Alonso is actually holding up the likes of Vettel, Verstappen and Perez, and the Mercedes, they are just pulling away here. The McLaren not doing any favours for Ferrari and actually backing the pack up closer to us. Of course, we're aiming for points today. I wanted to get more points than last time. And, well, if we want to achieve that, we are going to need well, we're going to need to come as high as 9th. That would get us more points than the previous race, where, of course, we scraped just the singular point by the skin of our teeth. It was actually Palmer who won that point today. Part of me is wondering how many points has Palmer potentially cost us in this race. And I feel like it's probably more than the 1 point that we lost previously. But anyway, 10 laps left in this race. The tyres are holding out okay. We are, of course, going to have to go onto that medium compound at some point in this race, just kind of to see out our last stint. Our tyre wear, I mean, let's be kind to our car. It's not the greatest when it comes to tyre wear, our current car. It likes to eat through the tyres. I guess the good news for us is that we have actually managed to fight our way through a lot of the cars going on a longer one-stop strategy. So that kind of plays into our hands. You can see there's 9 laps left of the race. And, well, there'll be 8 laps left after this lap. I think it's now time to go on to the the medium compound. We'll be able to push this tyre fairly hard, actually, over the course of this race, which is, I guess, fairly nice, as Hulkenberg is actually beaten there. Is that the Force India? Who is that? It is Esteban Ocon, actually, You can see Magnussen in the Haas actually doing a really good job. He is the kind of one of the big leaders of the kind of cars yet to stop, of course. You can see Alonso on the medium compound. He has done really well too. He is still kind of fighting strong, and you can see now actually Magnussen going to opt to go into the pit here. We actually get the cut on him. In fact, no, we don't. I thought we'd beaten him in the pit stop there. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But we can push these medium tyres fairly hard till the end of the race. That is one thing that we do have in our favour. But Hulkenberg down in 14th, a few cars ahead, yet to stop. We should make up a few places there. But I think, similarly to last race, unfortunately, we are going to be fighting it out, really, just to try and scrape a point and trying to get in that top 10. We'll have to see how things go here. Magnussen, I mean, he's on the harder compounded tyre. We should be able to kind of beat him the raw race pace of the medium tyre. And we'll be able to push the tyre fairly hard towards the end of the race. You can see, still 7 laps left of this race, so we can't go too crazy with how hard we push. But at least for now, we're not losing ground on the drivers ahead of us, and I'm expecting to see a few more come into the pits here. And actually, you can see Sainz and Magnussen, Sainz and Van Dorn both going into the pits. They come out behind us. We do make up a few places, but worth noting they are now on the softer tyre until the end of the race, and I expect them to push that tyre very, very hard in this race. Hulkenberg not set for another stop. Stroll may have to stop again, as may a few of the other cars right at the front of the pack. Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel. If they are trying a one-stop strategy, they are going to struggle to see it out, you'd think, with the current tyre situation. So that might play into our hands. You can see Alonso doing really well, setting the fastest time of the race. Has got the slipstream of Lance Stroll and the Williams to kind of help him out a little bit. But well, we're trying to make something happen. You can see blue flags, they're going to be waved for. Who is in 7th place? It's Ericsson. He is a lap behind. He makes clear and, well, makes way for Hulkenberg. Eventually, make way. Get out the way. Why are you using ERS? You're in the way, man. Thank you. Hulkenberg up to 9th. Who's that in the pits? Perez in the pits. I can only assume he's had some kind of technical issue there that's had to be fixed. I'm not entirely sure. But, well, I didn't think we were going to be able to do that much better. We're up to 9th. We actually set a fastest Sector 1 as well. We are, well, we're flying at the moment. We can actually afford to turn the car engine mode up a little bit as well. In terms of our park condition, largely okay. The gearbox might be a little bit on the edge. But, well, Hulkenberg, he's now up to 8th as well. A few cars ahead. I was about to say they might pit. I don't think any of them actually will. You can see a few of those cars that couldn't make that longer stint last have struggled. Hamilton down in 15th. I can only assume they had to do some repairs on his car there, because that is going to be really, really disappointing for him. And you can see Hulkenberg trying to make a move on Kevin Magnussen. He is, of course, using that harder compound of tyres. 2 laps left to try and make something happen here. I think we can push the tyres a little bit harder. Fuel now just a little bit of a concern. We've worked very hard to get into this position. Now can Hulkenberg kind of make something happen? He is complaining about a gearbox potential problem on the horizon, but, well, there's 1 lap left after this one. We are not going to be able to stop, my friends. You've got to try and push this car. Try and get 7th if you can. It's going to be a real challenge. Although Magnussen's car, those harder tyres, they are starting to just kind of fade away a little bit, and maybe we can still make something happen here. As those tyres, they are dropping below 30%. Hulkenberg, he's trying to make something happen here on Kevin Magnussen. Go on, my son. Make it happen. You can see Bottas is going to win the race. Vettel going to come back home in 2nd. There is still a battle for 3rd and 4th as well. But Hulkenberg, the battle that we want to focus on. Push. Push with every little bit that you've got. He's up to 7th. He's done it. Magnussen fading away, and he will get 7th. A fantastic drive by Hulkenberg. Qualified in 7th. Finishes in 7th. I mean, when you consider the nightmare situation, there was the safety car that came out for Palmer 1 stop after we pitted for our first stop, and everyone else got that free stop under the safety car. I feel like to recover the race and get 7th is not a bad achievement by any means. It's a really, really good little comeback. And, well, we have to be proud of that. That is a top performance by the drivers. Unfortunate, I guess, that Palmer did crash out when he did. It definitely had an impact on our race, but we fought through it, and we actually got some decent points on the board. And, well, hopefully now we're going to have some more good news, and Carlos Sainz is going to say, yes, I want to come and drive for Renault Motorsport next year, or even this year. I mean, we would take him on immediately, if possible. A little bit disappointing, actually, that we missed out on our sponsor objectives. Of course, sponsor objective was to finish top 6, and we finished 7th twice, but we're still making healthy income each and every race, and that's all that we can really ask for. We'll continue forward here, of course. I'm hoping to see good news in that Carlos Sainz wants to come and drive for us. Whether or not that is going to be the case, we will find out. We have an interview to attend. Let's talk about Jolyon Palmer's crash. Where does the fault lie? It was a bad mistake and he needs to look at himself. He's not happy. I wouldn't be happy either, mate. You're about to get cut from the team. Has no one told him yet? No one? Okay, well, that's awkward. Anyway, we do have a new rear wing. We also have a new sponsor offer. We'll have a look at this. It's not for a big sponsor slot. It's only for slot 6. Which is going to give us the most money. Just looking at it here, it doesn't actually make a difference. It doesn't seem they all actually pay out the same amount long term. So we'll just go with this one. I probably should have gone with the one that looked the nicest, but I just picked the one on the left because I read from left to right. Anyway, Carlos Sainz, is he going to be joining us? We are about to find out. He is a big prospect, a big driver in this game, and he's rejected the contract offer. I didn't expect that. Carlos doesn't want to join us. Hashimoto does want to join us. And I think I'm going to bring her in for Palmer because she has potential. And Palmer's just annoying me, really. How much do we have to pay to break his contract? Be 4.5 million. So if we sign... See, I'm wondering if we get rid of Sorokin and demote Palmer. Although we're still going to have the money, I guess, of Palmer's contract to pay off. So it's not actually going to help us that much. I'm going to cut Palmer. We're going to bring in the 18-year-old prospect, Chiaki Hashimoto. Can she do the business? I mean, that's going to be the big question for us. But Jolyon Palmer, you crashed out one too many times, my friend. You're fired. I feel like Alan Sugar. We've brought in a new driver here, and Hashimoto, great marketability. Smoothness is going to be a problem. I know that's going to be a problem. That's the same problem we had with Palmer, but her raw driving ability is hopefully going to be enough to carry her through here during her time at Renault Motorsport, and hopefully she can get off to a good start next episode. That is a big kind of signing for us, really. I mean, Palmer was awful. I still might look at Carlos Sainz long term, but well, he's not going to be interested in talking to us, at least not in the immediate future. Maybe a driver to look at when he comes to the end of his contract in 5 months' time. You know, that's a long time away. Maybe we can sway his mind in that time. Anyway, we'll quickly design a new part to end this episode. I'm going to design a new rear wing because, of course, we did get some new improvements there. We're going to go with the high-speed corner improvement. I'm also going to go with the... do I want to go with a risky one yet? I guess I don't really, because these are going to be ones I use for racing. Towards the end of the season, we will develop a more risky part to hopefully, you know, help us out next season. Because if you don't know, the highest performing part of each car... well, the highest performing part of each kind of different slot gets carried forward to next season, and all the risk levels are removed. So all the parts that have really risk involved in developing them are good to develop at the end of the season, not use, and because their values are naturally higher because they're risky parts, come the next season, you know, you've got a bit of a leg up on the opposition. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up today's episode from me. If you have been enjoying this Motorsport Manager series, do leave a like on the video. Apologies for the fact this series, again, it's a little bit late. It's going to be weekly one day, I swear down. But hopefully I see you guys the next one. It's going to be the British Grand Prix, one to look forward to. I will see you guys there. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.